The cleaner found the ring on a Tuesday morning, just as the sun slipped through the cracked window and touched the dust on the floor. It was a small gold ring, simple but heavy, lying beside the leg of the bed as if it had fallen there quietly, hoping to be seen. Her name was Mara. She cleaned apartments for living rooms that were never truly hers, lives she touched only through discarded cups, wrinkled sheets, and forgotten things. She picked up the ring and felt its weight settle into her palm. It was warm, as if it had been waiting. Mara knew gold. She had grown up watching her mother sell her last earrings to pay rent. This ring could buy groceries for months. It could clear her debts. It could silence the landlord's warnings that echoed in her mind every night. She closed her fingers around it. For a moment, no one would know. The apartment belonged to a man named Daniel, quiet and distant, someone who traveled often. He wasn't home. He rarely was. Mara stood still, the vacuum humming beside her, her heart louder than the machine. She imagined handing the ring to the pawnshop owner. She imagined sleeping without fear. But then another thought came soft, persistent. If this ring mattered enough to be worn every day, it mattered enough to be returned. Mara placed the ring carefully in her pocket and finished cleaning. Before leaving, she wrote a short note on a scrap of paper. I found this near your bed. I didn't want it to get lost. That night, Daniel returned. He dropped his keys, loosened his tie, and sat on the edge of the bed. Only then did he notice the note. His breath caught. He searched the drawer, his jacket, the bathroom sink. Finally, he unfolded the paper with shaking hands and reached into the envelope taped behind it. The ring was there. Daniel closed his eyes. That ring had belonged to his late wife. He had thought it lost forever, slipped away during grief-filled days when time no longer made sense. Losing it had felt like losing her all over again. The next morning, Daniel waited for Mara. When she arrived, she looked nervous, her eyes dropping to the floor. Daniel held out the ring, his voice unsteady. You found this, he said. Yes, Mara replied. I'm sorry if I overstepped. It didn't feel right to keep it. Daniel studied her hands rough. Tired? Honest? He asked gently. Do you know what this is worth? Mara nodded. Enough to change things. Then why didn't you? She paused. Because some things cost more than money. Daniel was silent for a long moment. A week later, Mara received a letter slipped under her door. Inside was a check enough to cover her rent for an entire year. Along with it was a note, written carefully. You returned what was priceless to me. Please accept this, not as payment, but as gratitude. Your integrity reminded me that goodness still exists. Mara sat on the floor and cried not from relief alone, but from something deeper. For the first time in a long while, the future did not feel heavy. Months passed. The ring returned to Daniel's hand, where it belonged. Mara continued cleaning. But something had changed. She walked taller. She spoke more confidently. People noticed. Integrity, once chosen in silence, began to shine loudly. And though the ring was no longer lost, its lesson traveled far beyond that room, proving that honesty, even when unseen, has a way of returning more than it takes.